It is finally time, guys, to talk a little bit about Mexico, to be more exact, a nation that is supposed to form the Aztec Empire in EU5. So starting with a bit of background, they are talking about Nahua people, from where they came from, and their legendary ancestral home known as Aztlan. You came from Aztlan in EU4, can't you? Or maybe it is in my mod. But it is a bit more like where they inhabited. It is about artificial island in the middle of the lake Texcoco, and that's one of my favorite things I think about history of Aztecs. How the hell they created a fucking big city in the middle of a lake with many of the bridges. But yeah, the county of Tenochtitlan, because this is a literally one location minor, not even one province minor, one location minor, but with 100,000 people and 4,500 possible levies. They also mentioning that there's a new piece of content added to UI called content. We have overview of the nation, we've got description of the nation, which I assume is this, and we've got content for the nation. We can understand, okay, this nation has 12 bonuses. One bonus also from culture, 4 different mechanics from the religion, 42 from the fact that they're monarchy, and 9 because they are a settled country. Shouldn't it also tell us how many dynamic historical events they have, or is this the 12th number combining advances and dynamic historical events? But yeah, that's how their starting situation looks like. That's the one province minor. It is a shame they didn't actually put a goddamn city in the middle of a lake. People would absolutely love that, including me. I mean, imagine something like this in EU5. This freaking city had around 200,000 people at its peak. Well, yeah, they are saying this is work in progress, so they might still adjust it, and it's a tough area in general to set up. And that's how the Mexico looks like, which might be a bit hard to expand in, especially with the mechanics that some of the nations around here have. This is their estates, and the mechanic that I had in mind is Altapetl, which is actually disallowing to take lands in the peace treaties. If you want to expand, you have to expand through subjects. At the same time, it gives you diplomatic capacity, so you can have these subjects, and ability to raid enemies for slaves in the wars, because then you use the slaves in the rituals of your religion. There are a few unique privileges that countries with Nahua ritualism religion have. One of them is Warrior Tribunal. This gives reduced separatism. Then we've got ceremonial tax exemptions, which is decreasing tax from burghers, but is also helping with the doom mechanic, about which I assume we'll talk a bit later when we go to the Nahua religion. Nahua ritualism also has 2 unique units. You see how many special units we have in game. So Warrior Temple allows you to get manpower and recruit Jaguar warriors and Eagle warriors. They also have unique sumptuary law with 2 available policies, one of which is being warrior culture, that is giving you some additional discipline on the cost of peasants' estate loyalty, or tradition, which gives you increased peasants' loyalty. There is also a unique policy for the administrative system, which gives you proximity cost and subject income. I mean, proximity cost is not that useful when you can't really expand, right? But yeah, how about unique advances? Because the content that I was just mentioning, this, guarantee forms, privileges, these are for the Nahua countries. Nothing unique for the Aztecs over there. Here is unique Aztec content, which is first of all some advances. In Age of Traditions, you're getting warrior societies, which unlocks you Calmecac and Telpochcali buildings. See, Calmecac gives you max literacy, efficiency of your cabinet, and also bonus to the location itself, while Telpochcali gives you army reinforcement cost and additional monthly manpower. 30 is a decent amount. Chinampas in Age of Renaissance gives you food production. Calpixacoyotl gives you subjects income, another one. Reformed Telpochcali gives you monthly army tradition. The return of the Quetzalcoatl gives you estate satisfaction equilibrium. And there are probably a few more advances that are just not sharing with us as usual. Although most of the content related to the Aztecs is very attached to the Nahua ritualism features, and thus is very mechanical. There are still some non-generic, non-religious related dynamic historical events available for them. For example, the Great Pyramid of Tenochtitlan, which is a unique building that they are having. See, there's hundreds of buildings in game, especially the unique ones, which gives you monthly doom being decreased. a bit of cultural tradition and pop conversion speed on the cost of increased clergy power. There's even a unique court here that you can get as the Aztecs called Tlacalapanco. Some other dynamic historical events, it's too bad they don't really have like any specific backgrounds. And the most important thing, what they called a final boss, is Kokolitzli. So when the Europeans arrive, their diseases are arriving with them. So this is gonna be the absolute doom mechanic, the actual doom mechanic for you playing in this region. And that's why I think, based on my understanding, the Aztec might be truly a ruined campaign simulator, which I'll have to try at one point of the game. But this is it about the content of the Aztecs. You see, it is not as rich as nations like Ottomans or France. They are probably like tier 3 country that is having a bit of unique content, but a lot of their content on top of that is just based on the religion and culture and like in general the region that they are playing in. But about the religion, since so much of content of the Aztec is based on the religion, let's read about Nahua ritualism a bit more. Well, yeah, this is in general about the Tonal religions, which is covering the whole Mesoamerican region. You see, you have Nahua ritualism as I mentioned, but there's also Reformed Nahua ritualism, Tonal, Mayan ritualism, and Chichimeca. And Nahua ritualism is having naturally the most of the features, where you see by default people with this religion are getting slaves working with raw materials allowed. That's why that slave raiding might be very useful. Increased army morale, being able to recruit these special units that we discussed about, and unrestricted slavery. On top of that, they have unique mechanic of doom, and they also have religious focuses. At the start are 4 million pops of that religion. So see, we have the doom, we've got 6 gods available, and there are 8 different focuses. And on top of the focuses, we can also have some specific religion actions. Oh, this is the temple that's we've got in EU4, right? The event to switch back to NAHUATL. A bit more about the Doom, they are saying that this is a special currency that nations with Nahua religion are having. The Doom is definitely increasing from your urban locations passively, and high Doom is decreasing loyalty of your subjects, and it's decreasing your stability decay and increasing your estate satisfaction. At the same time, if you want to decrease Doom, you have to kill enemies in combat or loot locations with high development. And the religion focuses, as they are explaining, these are the actual reforms. So like in EU4 you had like 4 or 5 reforms that you had to take. We've got 8 of them in EU5 that you have to pass in order to reform your religion. Most of these reforms are actually unnecessary pain. It's not like a bonus in EU4, it is giving you disadvantages, like elevate our patron god decreases tolerance of the true faith. And if elevating our patron god, you'll be able to choose one of the gods to get a bonus thanks to it, so you lose some but you gain some. There are some nice bonuses over here, like monthly prosperity gain, garrison size, army movement speed, recruiting explorers, army maintenance, or even disease resistance. And establish the Chihuahuat position, it's increasing your cost of the court, which is not that much. Institute the Flower Wars is increasing nobles' power by 100%, and it's actually giving you the flower CBs like in EU4, well, I guess we'll learn. Raise sacrifice rate is increasing the clergy power by 100%. And then set focus, we'll get again the clergy power. And when fully researched, this will be having the monthly doom decrease. And it's gonna increase one of the interactions efficiency. Regarding the religion actions that you're having as a Nahua region, you can click a button to lose doom, but it's gonna cost you 100 slaves. You can host the ceremony, which is costing you some money, as well as 400 slaves. And Nahua people will celebrate a festivity dedicated to a certain deity each month. This month lasts 20 days. In each month, the celebration differs, and you will get different effects depending on it. There it is, open a warpath. It will give us the Flower Wars casus belli against the selected neighbor country. Flowers. Conquer cost for attacker, 900%. Subjugate cost for attacker, 900%. I guess that these wars are not about conquests. And the last action, obviously, reform society, which allows you to reform the religion after you complete all of the religious aspects. But they are saying that it has a big con. It triggers a disaster, reform society, which needs to be resolved to become a reformed NAHUATL society. And you see that once you click to reform the society, you gain some stability at the start, you lose that main guarantee form, so you'll be actually able to start expanding. Instead you get reformed NAHUATL society, and all of our subjects with the same government that we had before will be annexed, so that's pretty nice. And we convert to the new religion. Interestingly, if you have at least 50% of control in a province, with Nahua ritualized religion, it's gonna automatically convert to reformed Nahua ritualism. Here are some requirements to reform. You have to make at least 20 locations, 500% subjects, and all of the reforms done. That's how the disaster looks like. I love that image actually. Once you go through the disaster, the reformed NAHUATL society gives you revoke privilege cost, crown power increased, and possible guaranteeing forms. While religion, it is still allowing you slaves working raw materials, still you have army morale, but you have also pop conversion speed, tolerance of the true faith, and still unrestricted slavery. Then we've got also Maya ritualism, which is having religious aspects instead, and some religious actions as well. They do not have doom, but instead they work around a concept of Katun, which is a measure of time of the Mayan people. It corresponds to 19.7 years. The end of the Katun and start of a new one was marked by many ceremonies and festivities, making the occasion a truly important date for ruler and its people. If by the time the current Katun ends we have invested enough resources to prepare for the celebration, we'll gain Katun celebrated for 10 years. On the other hand, if we are not ready, we might gain Katun celebration mismanaged for 10 years, so that mechanic is about preparing for the celebrations every 20 years in game. There'll be 3 degrees of preparations for the celebration. Like you see, preparing for a Katun is, this one is reducing your tax, but it's increasing your religious influence, prestige, as well as tolerance of the true faith. The Katun will happen on actual dates according to historical Maya calendar. So the first one to encounter once the game starts will be in September 1342, with the following ones occurring every 19.7 years. So it will not always be on the same month. Once the Katun finishes, the country will get an event with different outcomes depending on how much prepared they have been able to accomplish, as well as resetting the value of preparation back to 0. So you see, when you mismanaged, you lose tax efficiency, morale of armies, navies, prestige, and efficiency of cabinet. If you celebrate it, you get tax efficiency, the same bonuses but reversed, an actual 10%, while you were losing 5%. And if you did it efficiently, you get even 20% of this. This is really strong. Here are some other actions, like sacrifice the noble blood, will kill a selected character, so you might get rid of someone with bad stats, which gives you religious influence, clarity, state satisfaction, and commoner satisfaction, but you lose some stability, obviously. You can also pay a visit to one of the holy sites that you can see on the screen, which gives you also religious influence on the cost of some money. Maya also has some gods that are giving you specific bonuses. Finally, we've got the Tonal religions, which is again having some gods and aspects. So again, choose some of the bonuses from them. You can select which aspect you want to add. Just to see is again some prosperity, maintenance, and movement speed. And yeah, this religion seems like to be much simpler. People do disagree a lot with this dev diary. I'm wondering why. Let's jump into the comment section. Yeah, that's the main illustration for the dev diary. Okay. People don't like the doom mechanic. That explains it. And look, it actually has more likes, this whole explanation, than the actual post. That must mean something. But it's good that they are posting it and getting feedback, because they often change stuff based on the good feedback. So I'm wondering that's gonna happen here as well. But hey guys, let me know what you think about Doom being back, as well as the Aztecs mechanics in general, and obviously subscribe to the channel to get notified about my next dev diaries, because I think next week we're gonna talk about Incas and their religion.